Hello, hello. All right, so I got everybody on the group. All right, yeah, everybody's on the group. And as you guys hop on, make sure you post a 1 below if it's your first through third time catching me live, okay? Post a 2 below if you're an oldie but goodie. So 1 below if it's your first through third time catching me live, 2 below if you're an oldie but goodie, okay? So I am excited to be on with you today. I just got a trying to reconnect. All right, so the group is not working real well. Let's try to figure that out. All right, so we're going to have to go back to that. Okay, give me a second, guys. I don't know what's going on with this. All right, so I'm just going to reset it and we will hang out together until I get it started again. So today, and I'm probably going to be repeating myself now, we are going to talk about, all right, the fact, honestly. Hi, Jamanda, how are you? We're going to talk about the fact that groups, as I've known, I mean, I can't say I'm always right, but I always have to say that, you know, when I'm just going with my own child, that when my gut is telling me something, that I'm usually right. Have you guys ever kind of done that? I'm resetting my network settings for the group, so hopefully they stay tuned, right? Um, so, you know, I usually go with my gut, but, you know, the more research and the more training I continue to get, I have realized that there's so much going on with education today that it's, you know, because I've always questioned myself a little bit, because I'm like, gosh, do I always sound like Debbie Downer? Am I like this, you know, what's going on, And I'm not, because, the things that I talk about are serious and they're things that are going on today. And, if they're not spoken about, then how is change going to happen? So, it's never to post blame. It's never to, be nasty, or maybe I shouldn't say post blame because sometimes I am blaming people, but, it's not to be nasty, but at the same time, I'm going to call it how it is. And, as you guys know, research and science doesn't lie. And the school system really has to, well, school systems, I should say, really need to get with the program. They are so opposed to doing things different. I don't know what it is with school systems, why they feel, when they're told to, train their teachers and actually invest in them, when they're told to, actually put forth effort to have good and quality programs, they'll talk a lot about, oh, well, it's evidence based. Okay. It's allowed, and, there's research, it's research based. Well, there's things that are research based and there are things that are research based. All right. Anybody can, throw around, the fact that there is some sort of research that was put into it. Okay. So, when you look at things like that, well, shoot, a lot of things could constitute as research based if you want to look at it like that. But when you're talking about the education and the education of children, do you really believe that half-assed way of doing things, or getting together and saying, oh, this is research based because somebody different looked at it? All right, I'm trying to hook up with my group, guys. All right, so give me a second. Hopefully maybe it's Facebook having issues, I don't know. So hopefully we'll get this fixed. All right. 2 seconds. Hopefully I know my password to get in. So we'll see. I think I do. All right, so while I am doing this and hooking up, because I'm just sitting here, what I want you guys to do is post below an experience that you may have had, all right, with your school system that didn't really make sense to you, but you didn't know um, what else to do about it. You know, you knew something didn't sound right, but you didn't know what else to do about it. So post below an experience you've had that expresses your opinion versus another opinion and how it just made you think. So let's do that. And then also, as you're hopping on, post a 1 below if it's your first through third time catching me live, and a 2 below if you're an oldie but goodie. And today we're going to talk about, reading groups and how they're not in the best interest of our kids. All right. I don't know what's going on with Facebook. All right, let's see if this would do it. Okay. Hi, Kimberly. I hate being asked to read now as an adult. Yeah, that's kind of crazy. Like, why do you not like to read now as an adult? Like, why do you say that? Thanks for sharing, Erin. So, why do you guys think that groups may not be the best thing for your kids? This is going to take some of your part in communicating. All right, this is a learning experience. So, tell me, what do you think? You have dyslexia. Okay. So, why don't you tell us about that a little bit, Kimberly? Like, how has that affected you as an adult? Because it's different, right? Children and adults and how it affects you, right? Hi, Delrose. How are you? Oh my gosh, you hear it. Ugh, he drives me nuts. It's always when I go live. I don't get it. Rocco, no. He's still a puppy. So he can definitely drive me crazy. Okay, so I'm on. Let me see if Facebook's going to work now for my group. I'm trying to hook up to my group, guys. I'm going to get going in just a second. It like logged off for some reason, so hopefully we can get this working. Okay. Let's see if it'll work, right? All right. Hey, guys. Sorry about that mess up. Okay, so it's on, so hopefully it doesn't mess up. All right, Shelly, how are you? I was told that I would not be able to get a BA due to the division not having. What's a BA? I've never heard of a BA. Hey, group people. Sorry for clicking off. It messed up. Sorry. What's a BA? I've never heard of a BA. Thank you. Come here, Rocco. Come here, Jake. What's a BA? I'm curious. Ugh. All right, go, 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 go. I wasn't calling you. I was just telling you no. What's a BA? Oh, a behavioral aid. Okay. Usually they're called teachers' assistants, one-to-ones, para-educators. Because here's the thing. Behavioral aids don't exist. Did you know that? I'll tell you how I found this out. I mean, because I'm a questioner. Hey, group people, say hi if you are on live. Rocco, go. Here. This is what he keeps squeaking. This stupid squirrel. Go. Okay? So this is how it works. All right? So when I'm on a IEP or in an IEP, okay, I always question everything. You would think I was nitpicky. I'm not nitpicky. What? I am very nitpicky, okay? And I will own it, but I'll tell you it works to my advantage. And let me tell you why. Because, I had a director of special. Oh, well, he has a behavior aid. Well, what's that? I've never heard of a behavior aid. This is what I said to the director. Rocco, stop! So I said, well, what's a behavior aid? What's their experience? What is their training? All right. And go. Do you need to go to your bed? And so they said, oh, well, it's just, the name that we're giving them. What? So I said, what do you mean you're just giving them a name? I said, you just said that they're trained in behavior. How are they trained in behavior? Hi, Ruby. And go. And so they couldn't answer me. It was so weird because, oh my gosh, you should see my little dog. He's sitting at the door waiting for my husband. It's like they know. Like, how do you guys know when it's almost 6 o'clock? So just know there's no such thing. And if there is in that school district, let's just say there is, ask what the behavior aid means. The school systems are throwing out names, words, titles, and parents believe it because we want to trust them, and don't do it. Okay? Don't do it. Because if you don't ask, and if they say, oh, this behavior aid, I've heard of a crisis team, but never I don't know what that means. So it's kind of crazy because, had I not asked what a behavior aid was, we would have gone on thinking, oh, yeah, behavior aid. Okay, just specific for behavior, But there's no such thing. So the lowest end person who actually has a 1-year certification for behavior is a RBT, all right? A registered behavior technician, all right? The next person is a BCABA, and then the top behavior person is a BCBA, okay? So the lowest on the totem pole who has quite a bit of experience that works under a BCBA is a RBT, a registered behavior technician, all right? And so, when someone says a behavior aid, really what they're saying is take that terminology and make it a one-to-one for behavior, or a paraeducator for behavior. And they're giving them this woo-woo title so that you think that it's something way cool. All right. Hi, Courtney. Hi, Sarah. I was going to call you Celery because that's your last name. So getting started, post a 1 below if it's your first through third time catching me live. Post a 2 below if you're an oldie but goodie. Share this if you choose to on the page. And I think you can as a group, but only to your page, and then people see it. But definitely do that to share the knowledge and information. And for those of you who don't know me, my name is Raven Woods, and I'm the CEO and founder of Autism Mama Rocks IEP, and I help parents gain the knowledge and the confidence to become the CEO of their IEP meeting. And, in doing that, I really truly believe that in seeing what I do sometimes, a lot of parents like to see what I do and they get my IEP package to get their IEP on point and in order and everything cleaned up and ready to go. And then they run with it themselves and consult with me, and, I'll go to a meeting here and there, or if an issue comes up, and, all that kind of stuff. So it's a lot of fun. I love, love, love what I do. I think it's so important to love what you do. Do I get stressed out sometimes? Absolutely. Do I get pissed off? All the time. You should have seen some of my emails last night. Before I get started, I kind of laughed at this. Hi, Courtney. Hi, Ruby. Hi, Allison. Welcome, guys. Hi, Leah. All right, all these new people over on the group. So if you guys haven't joined the group, put in the search bar Autism Mama Rocks IEP group and get over there. I am in Northern Virginia, Shelly, but this far, I have worked in 41 states. All right, I got 9 more to go in the year of 2021. That's my goal, to be in all 50 states. So I love it. And believe it or not, I have worked in all other states, all 40 other states, my state being one of them, so mine is 41. Do you know my state I've worked the least? How crazy is that, right? So I've worked the most in many other areas: New York, California, Ohio, Florida, Texas. Yeah, lots of areas, but I've worked in all 41, but those are kind of my big ones. So, I actually love working in other states. It keeps things fresh and fun. And, I love the fact that I had to brush up and know not just Virginia state law, but other state laws. And even though they're not very deviated from state laws are not deviated that much from IDEA. So, I basically had to, get really good at understanding certain state laws that were a bit different, but, they're not that different. The two states that have the most differences would be, I would say New York first and then California, believe it or not. But they're not that different. Okay. So, in the grand scheme of things, you just have to know IDEA. And everything else just kind of comes, but I have perfected my state law. Not being an attorney, but I have perfected it. Hi, Jackie. How are you? One thing I will tell you, two things. I have two tips for you guys. This is good shit. All right. So, number one, Jackie says she's from New York. New York is one of the states that is a pain in my ass. And the other state that I'm going to mention is another pain in my ass. So let's start with New York. New York, in just early last year, passed a law after a judge stated, okay, so per IDEA, an FBA or any assessment is under where you can ask for an IEE, right? So, New York, that actually went to a due process because the school system didn't do it and consider it an IEE. I've done Tennessee, they're a pain in the ass. But, okay, so they went to, due process. It went all the way up to the court level. And the judge said, okay, all assessments are assessments except an FBA. So in the state of New York, they passed, after this judge did this order, which went completely against IDEA, was the fact that an FBA in the state of New York is no longer allowed to be a standalone assessment or an assessment within itself. It has to be combined with other assessments. And so you can't just say, hey, I want an IEE for an FBA in the state of New York. All right. But you can ask for an IEE in conjunction with other evaluations. All right. So Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Florida, worked in all of those. New York. All right. Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, I've worked in all of them. All of them. And so that is tip number one. So in New York, you cannot ask for an IEE specifically in just for just an FBA. All right. It has to be combined with. Okay. Yeah, PA. So now we're moving to my second pain in the ass, which is California. And this is huge. Okay. California is a two-party state. All right. So we have one party, two party, and all party. And what that means is in regards to recording, okay, there's recording laws. Yep. Worked in Oklahoma too. They're a pain in the ass. I think most states are a pain in the ass, but some are just worse than others, So here's the crazy kicker. All right. So California being two-party, meaning if you and I were on the phone, okay, I would have to say, if I were to record, okay, I would have to say, hey, I'm recording you. Technically speaking. Okay. And if you're in an all party, same thing. You have to tell everybody that you're recording. Okay. In a one party, you don't have to say anything. All right. Now, if you're in a one party and you're in an IEP and the other side says, hey, are you recording? Say yes, be honest. Who cares? But you don't have to say a word. if you're in a one-party state. All right? So, in California, being a two-party state, for an IEP, you do not have to ask their permission. You actually can just send an email in writing giving them notice, 24 hours notice in writing, saying, I'm going to record the IEP. So in the state of California, you no longer, or have not ever, I just learned this because I just went by, okay, it's a two-party state. I just know my states, and I knew that it was a two-party state. I never really looked into that further. So news to me, news to you possibly. You don't have to tell them other than one time that you're recording, and it has to be 24 hours in advance of the IEP meeting. So in the state of California, you no longer have to do anything but let them know 24 hours in advance. Now, mind you, I would tell them way before and then not say anything until the meeting. Just me. But here's the thing, is that's really cool. You know what I mean? So, because California can be a real stickler in certain things, and, you know, I find that very interesting. Here's another thing that recently, I love sharing things that have happened to me, even knowing what I know, that these are things that have happened to me and how I've reacted. So recently I've been working with a client, and this is in the state of California, and the school system, we had an IEP meeting, all right? They've been a pain in our ass. And the child is at a private school, and the contract that they have with the school ends in May of this year, I think it is, or maybe it's August. And so in May, we have an IEP meeting. So I had evaluations done on this child, and when they sent me a consent form, it was me and the parent, they CC'd me, and a consent form for the evaluations, and you know me, I'm specific on evaluations. I ask for specific ones and what they are and what I need them for and why it's appropriate for the child. And school systems will fight that all the time, all right? They will fight me requesting the names of the assessments, but I don't care. I will argue it to the death. I sat on a call, a Zoom call with an IEP team, and argued for 2.5 hours about why those assessments are going in the damn documents. All right. I don't care if it goes on the consent form, because consent forms are actually a breach of your procedural safeguards and are actually illegal. But schools send them. I don't care. Whatever. Sign the damn consent form. But it has to be put into the PWN. I'll go into that if you have a question about that later, about what I just said. All right. So they sent the consent form and the PWN, and neither stated what the staff had said. And the staff literally impressed me. I was impressed. I asked for the evaluations that I asked for, the names, you know, of course, the KTEA and other things. Post your comments, and I'm going to get back to them. And keep telling me, post a 1 below if you're first through third time catching me live, post a 2 below if you're an oldie but goodie. Jackie, I promise I'll get back to you in just a second. But if I talk to you guys, I'll lose my train of thought. All right, so they get back to me, PWN and consent form does not have anything that was discussed in this meeting. And when I say we went into detail in this meeting, I said, okay, this is what I want. I put it in writing before, so they knew, okay? And then the different assessors, speech, OT, psychologists, everybody spoke, and everybody agreed to the assessments that I said, all right? And then some of them even went above and beyond and said, I'd like to do this, this, and this too. Awesome. You know, mom and I felt great. We couldn't believe it because in the beginning, you know, before the meeting, the director of special education and the assistant director, both snotty, you know what's, you know, said, oh, well, we can't put the names in. And, you know, whenever they say we can't do this, they're lying. Okay. There is no, and if they ever say they can't do something, ask for the rule, the regulation, the policy, and the law. All right? Because typically, if they say we can't do this, there is not a policy, law, or federal law on that. None. Zero. All right? But they'll tell you they can't do all kinds of things, which is bullshit. All right? So now you got to figure out how to call their bullshit on them. Now, catch this. This is some good shit. All right. So this like tickles me pink. Aaron, you know this story, but it is funny as hell. All right? So I wrote them back and I said, oh, no. This is what I did. I wrote on the document, okay? Literally. I mean, it looked like I had tampered all over this document, which I didn't, but I wrote exactly what we spoke about. I wrote every single assessment. All right? Every single one that everybody said. All right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Everything that they said. And I sent it back, and the parent signed it, and we sent it back. Well, the director of special education emails us back. There's a training course I'm interested in. Absolutely, Shelly. What are you looking for? Are you looking for my big course? We'll talk about it in a second. Let me finish. So, so I sent it back to them, signed and with all the assessments because they didn't put the assessments on there. So the director of special education emails us back and says, oh, well, you need to re-sign this because we're not allowed to have the assessments on there. So I said, well, on record, we're not going to do that because that's not what was discussed in the IEP meeting. And you put falsified statements into the PWN, and none of that is true. So here's what I also did. I took the PWN and I started marking out words because they used words that inferred other things that was not the case. Like, for example, they used words like, and that's why you got to read your documents. So we just say the psychologist agreed to the KTEA. All right. She agreed on recording, agreed. Okay. And then in the PWN, the director writes, such and such psychologist may have and may possibly use the KTEA. Bullshit. That's not what we talked about. That is not what she said. And if you're going to quote something, you better quote it right. And so I wrote back and I said, you know what? Parents not signing this because this is a falsified statements. There are falsified statements in this document. And here's what I said. All right. Not only are there falsified statements in regards to your staff. So whoever wrote this, and this is what I said, whoever wrote this document lied about what everybody in the IEP meeting said. And I said, and I went a lot further. So then I said, and I really don't think your staff would like to testify to what you just said. Because that's in fact on record, not what they said. All right. So that's what I said. So then the director emails me back. And this is what she says. Well, the reason why we don't want to put it on the document is because it would actually make things a lot more confusing. It didn't even make sense what she was saying. I said, no, what makes it confusing is not putting the names of the assessments into the PWN and then adding what I told you, which is and any other assessment deemed appropriate by the assessor. So I'm giving them the availability to do whatever they want and along with what I requested. All right? So you do what you want, I do what I want. Let's see whose assessments are better. All right? So, then, and then I said, so at this point, so I wrote back and I said, at this point, what you are doing is asking a parent to sign a fraudulent and falsified statement and preventing the parent and student from obtaining evaluations based on the fact that you want the parent to sign a fraudulent, falsified statement. Do you know, within 2 days, one day, the director of special education wrote back, and do you want to know what she said? Every single on the PWN, literally every single assessment. And then you want to know what she said? She tried to make it sound like she misunderstood and that it was this whatever. All right. And that's what they do is they try to get away with something and then they try to bullshit their way out of it when they're called on their bullshit. All right. So you got to get really good on calling bullshit. All right. You got to get really good at that. And that's sometimes really hard because they will throw at you all. I mean, I've heard a lot of different crazy things and you got to call them out And the thing is they will swear by it. It's like they believe their own lies, you know? And it makes no sense to me. Like, why are you going to throw stuff out there that is just pure and utter bullshit and complete lies to convince a parent differently than what is fact? And then when you're called out on it because a IEP advocate or someone, an attorney or whoever comes into play, and then you want to kind of backtrack yourself and like bullshit your way out of it and act like you misunderstood. Have you ever received emails from the district where they say, "Oh, you must have misunderstood us"? No. No, I didn't misunderstand you at all. This is what happened. Don't try to bullshit your way and put in writing of something that happened when that's not what happened. You guys got to watch that stuff. It's serious. It happens all the time. And remember, if it's not in writing, it didn't happen. If they put it in writing and you don't respond to it, then it happened. Everything that you get from the school system, respond to. I don't care if it's okay. All right? But if you get anything, I don't give a shit what it is. Okay? I really don't. I don't care if it's, here's your child's, classwork, or here's a look at their handwriting. I don't care what it is. If the school system, teachers, or anybody emails you, you better respond. And you need to respond in an appropriate way, meaning received. Okay? If it's, I don't know, like a handwriting sample or, work that they did that day. Received. Okay, that's all you got to say to that one. But if they say something, okay, or if you had a conversation on the phone and they're recapping it, which don't freaking have a conversation on the phone. Stop doing that. All right? You guys aren't friends. You don't need to talk on the phone. But if you're going to talk on the phone, make sure you get Rev Call Recorder, REV Call Recorder. It's an app. Okay, it's super easy to use. All right, I'll share my screen sometime and show you how to use it. And record that damn conversation. Okay? Because you can record it and then you can transcribe it. It's awesome. Okay? But stop talking to them on the phone. I can't tell you how many times like I get involved and then the school system emails the parent and says, "Hey, if you have any problems, please just give me a call." You never said that in 6 months, but now you're going to say it now. You know what I mean? So like start looking at the whole picture and don't fall for the bullshit. Okay? Don't do that. All right? That's what they want you to do. They want you to fall for the bullshit. All right? Then they win and nothing happens. Okay? All right, let's get into the subject today. Okay, so today is about, all right, it's going to be, I shouldn't even jinx myself, short and sweet. You guys can laugh at me, for those of you who know me. I'm going to try to be short and sweet. I'm going to try really hard, okay? The last couple days have been like an hour and a half. It's crazy, but I'm going to try, okay? But I get so excited about this stuff, y'all. All right, my husband or my daughter is going to come home and you're going to hear all kinds of stuff. So I apologize in advance, but I have a life outside of, going live. So, thanks for the hearts and everything, guys, on the group. That's so sweet. They're awesome. All right, my group is awesome. Those of you on the page, my group is awesome. Okay. You guys are great. Okay, so I've always thought, I'll just give you my opinion. This is not a fact, but this is just where I've been with it. I have always thought that group instruction is stupid, all right? And as an educator, I really, how we were talking about color personalities yesterday? Well, I'm a little bit of green. I'm very much an analytical thinker. And I'm very much a person that, I don't go buy a car and then just grab the car that day. I like do my research on the pricing and how I'm going to negotiate. And, I just have to think about it, and then I go drive it again. I go to other places. I expand on, what it is that I really want and blah, 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 right? So I really think about things before I jump at it, right? And then, of course, I'm red, very much a go-getter, headstrong, stubborn. But I'll tell you, one of the positive things about Leos, which I'm a Leo, anybody else a Leo out there? I am very loyal. So, I can be a you-know-what sometimes, and I can be very straightforward, to the point, very transparent. But at the same time, I'm super loyal and I always discuss things, work things out if there's ever a confrontation, which I don't really get in a lot of confrontations. But, if I do, then I'm very much one to own if I'm wrong and, discuss, in other aspects, if that makes sense. So, in personalities, we all are a little bit different. All right. And for my personality, I am one to really think about things in advance. Mine's the 27th, Debbie. That's so cool. So it's really important to understand that, hey, Sky, I am live.
Stop it, Rocco!
Tell him, say stop it. He's excited to see you. He's jumping on Sky. You know what? Go ahead and put him in his cage. I know. Go tell him. Put him in his cage. Go on.
Rocco, get in the cage.
He listens to her. It's so weird. All right, go put him in his cage. So, all right. So I always think about things. That's kind of where I was, right? And so with group instruction, I've always thought, go ahead and put him in his cage, Sky. I've always thought that it was stupid. And I don't mean like stupid as in like dumb, but stupid to do, okay? So I just want to explain myself in that way so you're not thinking that I'm just calling people stupid. I'm just saying it's just a stupid thing to do because, it makes no sense, all right? So the reason it makes no sense is...
Rocco, excuse me, I got mad at Rocco.
I know, are you okay?
Yes, I'm upset.
Are you upset?
No.
Okay, you good?
Yeah.
Okay. So basically, what that means is I just didn't see, I always look at what's the purpose of it. What is the reason behind why this is being done? Does that make sense? All right, go put your backpack up over there. And so it just didn't, I know when I we did like reading groups too. We did that, I know, but you don't need to keep talking about it. I know. She's like really pissed off because he scratched her when he jumped. So she's going to talk about it all night. So I would, and we put them in groups and it talks about this, when I talk about it in a second, we had the high end group, the middle end group, and then the low end group. All right. But how we deviated that and put them in groups, that doesn't mean they were all on the same page. They were not all on the same level, Some kids, when I did kindergarten, I think I spent the whole year teaching them how to tie shoes. But, some of them came in, didn't even know their letters, So it was one of those things where we would put them in these groups and it became very difficult because they were not all on the same level. All right. So this is a article. All right. With research, if it doesn't have research, I will tell you, and I will tell you, that it is just out there, but this is research. All right. And it talks about how, the first sentence literally says, educators and researchers are looking to update. No, ma'am. No, you cannot. You can have two. No, you cannot. Okay, you can have two. Let me say. Let me say. How many is that?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
8. And how many did I tell you to have?
2.
Okay, go ahead and put it back.
Oh. I'm gonna take 8.
No, you did take 8, and I told you to put some back. All right. Okay. So, the first thing that it says is educators and researchers are looking to update one of the oldest, most popular, and at times one of the most controversial methods of targeting instruction. All right. The elementary reading circle. All right. So grouping students of similar reading skills, and then they say think birds, bluebirds, and redbirds, for example, has become ambiguous. Can I finish?
I came home late.
Can I finish and then we talk?
Yeah.
Okay. So ambiguous in American classrooms as a way to target instruction to students' learning needs, spreading from 68% of classrooms in 1992 to more than 90% by 2015, which is what it is today. All right. But evidence suggests that the practice of group instruction, all right, reading group instruction is what we're talking about for those of you hopping on. All right. And it goes on to say, evidence suggests that the practice is less beneficial than teachers think. It can exacerbate achievement gaps and even slow reading growth for some children unless the groups are fluid and focused on skills rather than achievement. All right? And that's a hard one to figure out of how it is being looked at, right? So then it goes on about, the spread of modern ability and grouping and the likely response to growing pressures to raise test scores and under No Child Left Behind accountability system. All right. And this is, where many people actually believe it is possible to use ability grouping as differentiated instruction to maximize achievement growth, basically. So people are believing that it's possible to use ability grouping as a differentiated instruction to maximizing achievement growth. All right. And it does not work out that way in practice. Okay. So that is fact. It does not work out that way in practice. So people are believing that instruction, that's why things are done. And, teachers are under this assumption, all right, and think that it's going to benefit the child. And think about it. Even service providers now are talking about the LRE and, we don't want to withdraw them from the LRE. We don't want to withdraw them from class. We don't want to take them out of their educational setting to bring them to therapy. But if the child needs therapy, the therapy is going to help them in the educational setting. So you have to do one before you hit the other. And taking them out, sometimes outweighs the negative aspect of taking them out of class. You know what I mean? So if you're dealing with a child that's nonverbal and needs speech, do you not take them out to do speech because they are going to miss an hour, 30 minutes? No, you take them out. So that's an excuse and a belief system that has actually been proven to be false. All right? But teachers continue to believe this because it's what is the norm and what they've been doing for decades now. All right. And so many people, a lot of this problem, many people are, basing things off an assumption of something that's been done for over a decade because it's what they're comfortable with and what they're used to. And school districts are not wanting to change things up and bring in different methodologies and sciences and things that are new and updated and, are working and are proven by extensive research to work because they're having to change things up. They're having to change, the type of training that they're, having to give their staff. They're having to spend extra money. They're having to buy different materials. All of those things compounded bring the school districts to be like, nope, we're not doing that. All right. And what's happening? Our kids are not learning to read because what the belief system is, what's been happening for so long, they're so used to, they believe that it's working, and I almost, how I said, school systems, almost believe their own lies. Well, it's almost like they talk themselves into things working that don't, because how I know this is when you ask for data, they can't provide the shit. They have no data, but they will believe that your child is your child's making progress. Here's a progress report. Here's my 4-sentence explanation that your child's making progress. So you need to be appeased and accept the fact that your child is making progress because I wrote 4 sentences on a progress report to tell you that they made progress. Just saying. All right, progress reports are a bunch of bullshit too, if you really want to know the truth. All right, why? What does a progress report look like, y'all? It is all of your child's goals, and who knows if they're good or not. I don't know. I haven't seen them. But it's all of your child's goals with, right beside it, an explanation, and sometimes, most of the time, they're not efficient, okay, or productive, or really explain. All right, you can't take a quarter of time, put a goal that I already know is a goal because it's in my child's IEP, and then give me 4 sentences and expect me to understand what the hell you're talking about. On top of that, you cannot take 4 sentences that you're somehow coming up with 4 sentences from a quarter. You've had all that time, but you only can come up with 4 sentences for me in regards to data. And sentences, people, teachers, whoever's writing the damn progress reports, is not data. That is subjective information. All right? Subjective data is called your opinion. It is your opinion as to where that child is. And guess what? If I were to assess a child and you were to assess a child, I bet you our opinions would be different. So, do I take what those 4 sentences in a progress report at face value? No, not ever. Which is why when you get progress reports, you know how on your IEP it says, or it should say that you get progress reports as frequent as report cards are given out. So basically, when report cards are given out, you should get a report card that same damn day. All right? So in that area where it says that, it could, in some IEPs, it's multiple areas, and other IEPs, it's like 1 or 2 areas. All right. So when that's there, when you see that, you need to tell your team to add and support it. So progress report and supported by report data collection. If you're going to give me a progress report with 4 sentences, you better support that damn thing with report data collection, because I cannot go off of 4 sentences and understand what the hell you did in a quarter. I just can't. Can you? So keep that in mind. All right. It just irritates me. All right. So let's move on. All right. So we just talked about how it doesn't work. The practice of putting a child and grouping them by ability due to growing pressures, which is fact, growing pressures to raise test scores under No Child Left Behind, and that accountability system. So No Child Left Behind, believe it or not, is not all unicorns. I just pulled that out of my ass, y'all. But it's not. Okay, so if you are friends with me on Facebook, all right, which not everybody is, obviously, all right, but I recently posted today how hold on, let me pull it up so I can state it factually. I put on my story, hold on. Okay, so my story is about the University of California will drop the SAT and ACT scoring and testing in accepting people and students into the university. All right, so basically they're not going to use that anymore as of May 2020. All right, so as of May 2020, the University of California is no longer going to base their acceptance and decision making in regards to the SAT and ACT. All right, and they go into detail. It's an article about why they chose to do that, and I could not agree more. Because you can have a student that does really well in school and has straight A's and then totally bombs the SAT, So you can't just, base things off of that. All right, so we're going to move down into more information on this. All right, so the topic in reference to groups has been documented in radio. It's been documented in documentaries and public media and all kinds of things, okay? And the importance of elementary schools specifically to bring in and train teachers in the science of reading. All right. And they aren't delivering that kind of systematic phonics instruction. All right. That beginning readers need to know in order to decode words. All right. So it's unfortunate because we've known this for more than 2 freaking decades, at least according to the National Reading Panel, all right, that successful instruction of almost all beginning readers must include phonics, phonemic awareness, fluency, vocabulary, and text comprehension instruction. The collective statements is what it reads and all of that. And yet it isn't happening in many, and it says American schools, which is why other countries surpass us in academics by far. All right. It goes into talking about the 2019 National Assessment of Educational Progress released, painting a troubling picture of young students' reading ability. And basically it was painting a troubling picture, all right? And overall, 4th and 8th graders' performance in reading is declining, and the lowest performing students are losing the most ground, all right? So they're saying that 35% of 4th graders were considered, proficient readers, all right? And that was in regards to the NAEP test, I believe is what it was called. And that's compared to 37% of 4th graders in 2017. So not cool. And then you go and you look at 8th graders, their scores dropped from 36% to 34% in 1 year, while the highest performing student scores stagnated, the lowest performing student scores and the lowest performing student scores dropped. So, and this is within group therapy, not just individual therapy, just group therapy. All right. So individual therapy, we're not even discussing right now. We're talking about group therapy of how things are declining. Things are not getting better there. I mean, and I want to put this out there. If your child has made progress using and being in group instruction, I want to hear about it. I want you to tell me about it. That's a win. That's amazing. I almost want to know what that teacher's doing. So if there's a situation out there, and so I want to put this out there, that your child's making progress in group reading, please tell us about it, because that's huge. We want to know what's happening that maybe needs to change so that other children have progress, because in the masses, they're actually declining and they're not making progress, or they're staying stagnant. All right. So for the higher level children, they're staying stagnant. And guess what? This is not special ed. This is gen ed. So now take this information and throw it into special ed. Do you see the seriousness of this? It's crazy. Crazy. And so we have to take it seriously. All right. So anybody joining, post a 1 below if it's your first through third time catching me live. Post a 2 below if you're an oldie but goodie. Tell me where you're from. I want to know where you're from. All right. And definitely say hello. Okay. I want to know what you're up to. Definitely say hello. Okay. All right. So the group also called for teacher preparation. All right. So there's okay, let me step back. Okay, so the first 2 points on the 12 groups agenda highlight both strands of reading. Okay, so there was 2 groups kind of put into this thing, all right, of how they determine some things. All right, hi Courtney, how are you? Hi Ruby. All right, so they basically said that calling for schools to teach foundational skills while implementing curriculum that is designed to build student knowledge, all right, that these groups also called for teacher preparation programs to better train future educators, and an evidence-based instruction for greater availability of high-quality books, of diverse authors, and for increased federal investment in literacy, okay, in collective, all right, cited Mississippi, one of only 2 states to increase in reading achievement on NAEP as an exemplar of what possible when these strategies are implemented patiently and effectively. So basically, it's summing it up that in the years since Mississippi has turned its attention to training teachers in evidence-based practices, their students have made a huge gain. They said at 30% and more is what it says. So when schools actually invest, all right, so in 2013, the state passed a third grade retention law, which allowed students to be held back if they couldn't reach proficiency. And in the year since is when, Mississippi turned everything around in their attention to training teachers, and then this no longer happened as much. All right, so it's important, guys, to make sure that evidence-based instruction is taught. They will tell you, they were swell up and down, all right, that all of their different methodologies are awesome, all right. Structured literacy like Orton Gillingham and Wilson Reading, which is like Orton Gillingham. It is not Orton Gillingham based, but it is a very good program, and it's like Orton Gillingham. The problem, though, is, again, like the t-shirt we're going to create, it's not about those two methodologies. They're amazing, okay? I'm certified in Orton Gillingham, all right? But the problem is how the students are taught. So what's happening is teachers are being sent to, by the school system, what's called it's like a 40-hour training from Orton Gillingham, which basically gives teachers an overview of the methodology, how it works, how it can be implemented in the classroom, and so on and so forth. But in no way does that amount of time give a teacher the proficiency in which they can then go and deliver that type of structured literacy to a student and then have them learn and progress and excel, because 40 hours isn't sufficient. It's not something that would qualify you as a highly qualified individual in reading-based instruction. So, but schools will swear up and down that we have qualified, teachers and trained teachers in Orton Gillingham and blah, 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 blah. And so then I come back to the table and I say, hey, what is their training? How long is their training? What does their training entail? All right. And then if they come at me at, they've been to the Orton Gillingham training, I'll say, have they been to the 1 year of certified direct instruction, the 1 hour, the 1 year certified group instruction? What have they been to? I throw those out on purpose. And then they'll say, no, they went to the teacher training. So the teacher training, if you look up Orton Gillingham, is a 40-hour training that gives teachers an overview of the whole methodology. That it's not a training specifically in one certain area or how to completely implement that type of instruction. If it was, then I would not have taken 1 year of how to do direct instruction in reading. I would have taken 40 hours. You see what I'm saying? Rocco, no, sir. So, you hear him? So I just want you guys to know that and understand that and start questioning if your child's in group therapy. They'll say, a group is, because a lot of times I'll say, because direct instruction actually means one-to-one and it means group. It means both. If you look up Google direct instruction, it will mean small group or one-to-one. It can mean either, and schools are tricking parents into believing that their child's receiving direct instruction because you use the word direct instruction. So they're like, yeah, no problem. So they put direct instruction into the IEP, and you don't even realize that they're actually getting group therapy. Bam, right? So start questioning everything. Every last thing, all right? They will do everything within their power. Look, I'm almost at 58 minutes. I'm going to end really quick right now, to trick you. And it sucks. I'm like, why do you guys do this? Like, why do you feel the need to do that? I don't get it, And the only thing that I can think about is the same thing in regards to bringing in better methodologies that are proven to work, and the old shit ain't working no more and hasn't worked for many years, but they don't want to change things up. It's like you can't teach an old dog new tricks, but you actually can teach an old dog new tricks. You can. You just have to make the choice to change. So the same thing with what I'm talking about here. You know, school systems don't want to change. And, you know, because they don't want to change, they don't want to put forth the effort. They don't want to train teachers. They don't want to pay for more, you know, school things, you know, that will enhance the students' ability to read and the teacher's ability to teach it better. Teachers need different material so that they can teach. Rocco, no. No. Crying. He's such a little puppy. Ugh. Okay, it's like little baby. He's like he's a baby. All right, dogs are like babies. Did you guys know that? So if you don't provide teachers with the materials that they need to effectively teach, they're not going to be able to do it in a proficient way. If you don't invest in your teachers, their lack of knowledge on reading, the science of reading, and everything that goes into it is not their fault. That's not taught in college. It's not. The science of reading, how to implement reading, how to teach a child how to read specifically, and based on what works, all right, the science, the research, it's not taught to them. They have to go out and learn how to do the science of reading and have the training, all right, of how to do it. The science of reading is very much about the approach, and it's very much about the conversation. It's very much about modeling. It's very much about, you know, having the child step by step it. It's very much about the child putting forth the effort and then getting feedback. Not about giving them a piece of paper to draw something. Not about showing them a picture. Screw the damn pictures. Do not put in your IEP that your child's going to have a picture to comprehend something. Get rid of picture cues. All right? Picture cues teach memorization, because picture cues, your child doesn't even know about that picture. They're not familiar with that picture. They don't know anything about that picture. This is the first time they've probably seen that picture. All right? And so you're basically saying, hey, look at this picture. Let me tell you all about this picture, and then you need to memorize, you know, what this means. That's what you got to do. All right? Kids don't do that well, and they don't retain that information. It's not something that is going to stick in their brains. You cannot do that. All right? And you cannot expect to have progress. You just can't. You know, kids learn just like anybody else. All right? If we're going to teach something, all right, and we're going to educate somebody, then we need to make sure that we're doing it in a way that is going to gradually get them to what? To mastery. And if they get to mastery, then we know that they were effectively and productively and properly taught how to read, because their word recognition will supersede everything and will control and lead them in whatever way they're going to go, all right, into, you know, vocabulary and fluency, and, you know, starting with phonemic awareness and phonics and fluency and vocabulary and spelling and writing, all right? So it's super, super important to understand how this has to happen. It's the same thing when you're asking inference and teaching inference to children, all right? So when you're making inferences, okay, and teaching children inferences, you never want to do that, you know, like speech therapists to do this. They want to teach inferences based off a picture that they show the child. No. You want to give examples such as actions that have happened, life events that have happened, because that's going to trigger that child to expand on what they're inferring to. They have to practice. They have to, you know, screw up. They have to be, it has to be modeled for them as to what they need to do. What are the, you know, if you're teaching someone something, you have to show them how to do it, right? Step by step, you have to show them. You can't just throw a picture in their face and then start to tell them to comprehend it and then prompt them so many times that they memorized it. That's what's happening. And it's not the way to teach. There has to be a structured way of teaching inferencing, and it has to be structured in the way they're taught to read. All right, so I'm going to end there. So we're going to continue this reading series, which I need to put that on the title, which I don't think I did. And we need to address that and continue with discussing reading. All right. So let me go to the group. I know somebody asked a question, then I'm going to come over to the page. Leah said, I have next year pre-K and ASD nonverbal level 3 starting school in Florida next year. What do I need to have in place for his IEP? I don't know, because I don't know what the concerns are. I don't know, pre-K, it's very hard to really get a good idea. What I would say is have a full and formal evaluation and have specific testing done. Obviously, you know what the diagnosis is, so now you need to dive deeper into the cognitive ability, the IQ, speech, OT, PT, whatever, pertains to your child, and, really get a good overview going into kindergarten, because once you have that, then you can follow that up every year, year and a half with another assessment. Don't wait 3 years. And keep track of where your child is and their progress. Now, do I believe that norm-based assessments are a way to know 100%, kind of like I was just saying about the SAT, is 100% about what a child's knowledge is? No, I don't believe that. But is it a way to, is it a way? I actually did Davina, I actually did a live on that. You'll have to go look it up. What was I saying? Sorry. See, that's why I don't answer questions while I'm talking. You basically want to look at norm-based assessments, guys, as a way to monitor progress. Okay? You want to monitor progress with norm-based assessments. You are not going to monitor your child's full knowledge on an assessment. Does that make sense? So I always tell parents, when we look at assessment, it's going to show us, okay, from kindergarten, Leah, to, say 3rd grade. All right, your child has a full evaluation. That's like the KTEA, the Wyatt subtest, the BOT2, you have, auditory processing, you have all the visual processing, you have all the different, the CASEL 2, you have all the different assessments that I could ask for dependent on what you tell me and what I see in documentation in regards to your child. So then I'd be able to, if I read documentation in regards to your child, I'd be able to say, and then hearing you, I'd be able to say, okay, I would do this assessment, this assessment, this assessment, and this assessment, and in each area. I'm a fan of doing 2 to 3 assessments in every area: IQ, cognitive ability, speech, OT, PT, assistive technology, handwriting, all of that. I incorporated all. When I tell a school system that I want assessments, I ask for the whole kit and caboodle. They are looking at me like I'm out of my damn mind because I'm asking for all these evaluations. But if I don't ask for that and I'm looking at the child's last evaluations, usually I'm only seeing about 3, sometimes 4. And it's in all the areas versus, multiple in each area, because each test, except for the KTA and Wyatt, how I like to combine them, are different. So, what the Woodstock-Johnson measures is different than what the Wyatt measures. What the KTEA measures is different from the WISC. So, all the different assessments are different. So I have to know, okay, let me see what this child is about. Let me meet this child. Let me, listen to mom, dad, etc. Let me look at all the documents. And then I'm able to say, okay, this is what I would do. This is what I do. This is what I do. All right. And, I don't care if it blows their mind how many tests I want. It's going to give you the whole picture and me the whole picture. And that's what we need in order to meet this child's needs, individual needs, and to have an adequate IEP. And I throw at the school system all the time. You and I both want an adequate IEP for this student. I know you want that for them. And what are they going to say to that? No, we don't, So you, long story short, Leah, ask for a full evaluation, get the baseline, which that's going to create the baseline for you. All right. I don't care about anything that happened in preschool. The school system doesn't care about anything that happened in preschool. And that's one thing that I have to tell people. What happened in preschool stays in preschool. All right. So now going into kindergarten, have an assessment, create a baseline, and move forward. Have that assessment or assessments every year, year and a half, moving forward to monitor progress, not knowledge. Okay? All right. Yeah, you know my story about certificate, Dana. Didn't you hear that story? Where the director of special education emailed me back and said that a teacher was certified in direct instruction, and he ended up sending me a certificate of attendance instead, calling it that the teacher was certified and that that was her certification in direct instruction. Oh, yeah. Got that too. Okay, so who else has a question? Anybody else? Nobody else. Okay, anybody else on the group have questions? Go ahead and post them and I will answer it. Okay, so the page. Dana says cover your own ass, progress reports. Aaron says yes, that's common practice in 50 states. What is? Least restrictive environment, Shelley, means, yes, least restrictive environment. That's gen ed, okay? Not special ed. That's not, more confined, restrictive setting, okay? Scorpio, ride or die. My dad's a Scorpio. So we can get along really well, or he can pluck my ever last nerve. And because Scorpios, as you know, are very stubborn. All right. And so that's kind of funny. It's what I'm here for. Okay. So Myrna says, I told them it is my right as a person with a disability to be accommodated, and due to FERPA on COVID, they must send electronically or I will look for legal aid. Well, you definitely don't want to say it like that. But I don't understand everything that you're saying. But you definitely don't want to say it like that. So if you can explain what you're saying, I need to help you rewrite that, because that's not what you want to say. All right? You don't want to tell them you're going to look for legal aid, because they're not going to give a shit. And you don't want to do all that. So tell me what you're talking about so I can help you rewrite that so that it actually will make a difference versus them kind of laughing at what you had said. I'm just going to be honest with you because I want you to be successful, and I don't want them thinking, okay, this is a joke. Do you know what I mean? And that's what a lot of times school systems will say in their heads, to the school district. If a parent doesn't know something, they know it. If a parent is stating, you're learning, okay, let's just take Myrna, for example, okay? I'm totally putting you on the spot, girl. I am so sorry, but I just want to use this as a teaching. So Myrna's saying, okay, this is what I say. Which she's learning the laws. She's doing what she's supposed to be doing. She's doing her due diligence, all right, which is phenomenal. Now, when you're learning like that, and then you take that and you're not saying it in the school's verbiage in the proper way where it, bam, makes a difference to them, they're going to look at it they're going to realize, okay, she's kind of, learning something, but they're not going to take it seriously because what is being said isn't coming across as being serious. When I read that, I'm thinking in my head, okay, cool. You know what I mean? And you don't want them thinking that. You want them thinking, oh shit. Do you know what I mean? So when I go bam and I send an email, I want that reaction of, oh shit. I don't want a reaction of she's a joke, or what is she talking about, or this is ridiculous. And then the games start to play. All right? So that's what happens. All right? You want to come across with validity, facts, and very assertive aggressive. All right? Not passive in any way. All right? Or threaten, or I will look into legal aid. I'll tell you how. I wrote the funniest email yesterday. Okay, I'll tell you about this. All right, so at a school, so I was tired last night, okay? So that's my excuse. I was tired. All right, and so I had a school district, all right, director of special education. She just came at me the wrong freaking way. And this was after my first email that I sent, which is very assertive, but it's not rude in any way. All right. So for her to come at me the way she did was shitty, and I flipped shit. All right. So let me move you guys back over. So let's just say I put her in her place. And guess what? She emailed mom and I today, this morning, because I sent it late last night. Again, I was so tired. And she completely changed her tune. Completely. Completely. All right. And it was, this happens all the time, kind of like what I told you in reference to me asking for certain testing, and that's what was discussed in the IEP meeting. And then the director of special education wants to say, oh, I'm not putting that in the PWN. What the hell? You're supposed to put everything that's discussed, proposed, refused, everything into the PWN. But you're telling me that we discussed this in depth, in detail. Your staff went into grave detail as to what they were going to provide and do and what assessments they were going to do. And you're not going to put that in the PWN? Come again? You know? So you have to hold them accountable for the things that they say. All right. And for the things that they do. All right. Now, one thing I had so I have a client, and then I'm going to wrap it up, okay? This is a good story. So I have a client that sent me a video. I'm going to have to charge my computer in a second. So she sent me a video, and on this video, I should play this video on here. I'll have to get her permission, but you guys might find it enlightening. All right. So her son was on virtual learning. She's from California, Texas. All right. And she's in Houston area. And they were doing virtual, and because she chose the virtual, even though they're back in like hybrid or whatever. And the teacher, no joke, the child got the hiccups. All right. So, and I heard the video. He was, just hiccuping like a child, like anybody does, right? And the teacher said, this is what the teacher said. She goes, you need, like, after he did it a couple times, and she wasn't even teaching. She was trying to fumble through her stuff to be able to teach. Like, she wasn't even teaching. She was literally looking down at her stuff, trying to fumble to figure out what she was going to be teaching, so she wasn't prepared. And then as he has the hiccups, she goes, you need to step away from this is what she says. He is, like middle school. And she goes, you need to step away from the computer because you are literally making me sick. That's what she said. Got it on video. No joke. All right. Now, when you look at that and what she said, the child has hiccups. Step away from the computer because you're literally making me sick. I'm sorry. So if you had a child in your classroom and they had the hiccups, what are you going to do? Send them to the nurse? Are you going to send them out of the class because they have the hiccups? And you're going to tell them that they made you sick because they had the hiccups? Like, I don't get it. Like, who the hell are you? And so, in my opinion, tell me what your opinions are of that. I want to hear. Post them. What do you think about that? And, I don't understand why she would say that. She knew it was the hiccups. How is it making you sick? I've never heard someone say, hey, you having the hiccups is making me sick. Like, what is wrong with you, lady? And so I wrote, mom was livid. And then the message, because the mom messaged and on Zoom and said, why would you say something like that to my son? That's very rude and disrespectful and hurtful. And, he has special needs. He didn't even understand a lot of what she was saying. And, like, no joke on this video, guys. This little boy, oh, you give permission, Inez? Thank you. So this little boy literally said sorry to the teacher. The teacher, mind you, that said, you're making me sick. Step away from the computer. Now, in my opinion, lady, you're making me sick by what you said to a child not only with special needs. Let's just take the special needs out of it. Let's just say any child, okay? Any child that is being told something like that is rude. Now, if she were to say something like, do you need to go to the bathroom? Do you need to go get some water? Are you okay? Whatever, that's different. But to say to somebody, you are making me sick, is the verbiage that was wrong. To tell him to step away from the computer or to go grab a drink of water or something like that, absolutely, sure. you know? But to tell somebody they're making you sick, that's like a rude way of like you're fighting with somebody and you're like, you make me sick, you're nasty, da da da. That's something that people say in a fight, like nasty, just to be shitty and rude, right? But you have a teacher, a special education teacher. Wait till you hear what I have to say tomorrow in regards to what they're doing with teachers. Did you know that due to the shortage, see, I shouldn't even talk about this yet. I shouldn't talk about this yet. See, this is how I go on and on, y'all. Y'all need to tell me to shut up. All right. Do you know, due to the shortage of teachers, of, literally senators in different states have come forward and said we need to create a plan because they're bringing in veterans, and then they're even, which nothing against veterans, but when they do that, that's a way for them to, put things out there, and veterans want to do that. They'll step in and, teach and do what they need to do because that's what not veterans as in military, by the way, veterans as in veteran teachers, or, people that are completely retired and not up to date with anything. All right. And then they're bringing in, not teachers, but people on provisional licenses. I found out the other day that one of my students' special ed teacher, she's new, and she was a social studies teacher. She went to school to teach social studies. And then all of a sudden she ends up in a special ed class. Be very careful. All right. It's very hard to find good teachers, but there are some out there, So anyway, yesterday I sent a response to this school system because they asked for the video to do an investigation. So Mom and I sent the video. All right. And this is after the teacher said, you made me sick, blah, blah, blah. And we sent the video, whatever. So Mom and I, we followed up on what's going on. What are you doing? Because Mom wants the child out of this teacher's class. Well, more than likely, this is the only SPED teacher in that school. Because they came back and said, nope, we decided we're going to keep, him in the classroom, blah, 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 blah. So I said, because I already put this out there to them, all right, of how disgusting this was. And the fact that it's on video is even more enlightening. So this is what I said, and I was a complete bitch, I will tell you, and I'm not kidding either. So I said, awesome, so I think that in my area, which is one of the biggest papers, which is the Washington Post, I said they would be thrilled to have this video and run with it. Also, the Houston paper, that's a big city, they would love this video to talk about the disgusting comment that this teacher said. And best part of it is they would go to that teacher and try to get comments from the teacher to why she would say something like that to a child. And then I said to them, and better yet, I should put it on my Facebook page, on my Facebook group, on my Instagram, and my YouTube, just for everyone to see. And I didn't say this part, but I'm going to say it to you. And in my mind, I'm thinking, and I'm going to pass it out to all my attorney friends and pass it out to all my advocate friends so that they can share the love. Maybe I'll add that too. But in my mind, I'm like, well, the only way to keep change and make change is to great minds think alike. Yeah. So I'm going to put it out there. So I'm going to give them a bit of time to come back to me and tell me what they're going to do. And if they don't do anything, then I'm going to send this video. Mom was totally cool with it. So I'm going to send the video to every which place and paper and whoever else that I got to send it to. Or I'll probably have Mom and just tell her how to do it. And that's it. I'm going to post this video everywhere. And when I post it, guys, if I post it, I want you to share this shit. I want you to share it so much that it gets completely out there. Because guess what? It wouldn't be a defamation of character because it's something she actually physically said and did. So I wouldn't be doing anything wrong. It wouldn't be illegal that, oh, she said this and I said this and I'm just like putting her down and I'm not going to say shit. I'm just going to post the video and I'm going to say teacher and student virtual instruction rude. Maybe. And I mean, it's not a defamation of character to say somebody's rude, right? And disrespectful to a child with special needs. I don't know what I'm going to say exactly. I'll probably talk to an attorney and have him tell me what to put. But I'm going to put it out there because screw that. If that was my child, I would be so freaking mad. I mean, I don't even know. But I do know that I would take it to the paper. And I do know that I would put it out there. What would you do? Post what you would do. I'm curious. What would you do? I am on YouTube, Megan. And guess what, Megan? By the end of the month, it's going to be completely live. So if you go to my YouTube channel, Autism Mama Rocks IEP, videos are uploaded. But my assistant is uploading all my videos, and then she's creating everything so that everything's ready to go as in a channel. So yes, it's getting together to be done by the end of the month, my YouTube channel. My Instagram is already there, Twitter, you know, all of that. But I'm just now starting to go and to other social media. So my next, I'm going to be posting pictures and comments and stuff like that, like I do here on Facebook, on Instagram, but I'm not really going to run with Instagram yet. I'm going to run with Facebook here on the group and YouTube for the moment, and then go like that. Off the sub. I would blast it all over, blurring out the child due to the yeah. I mean, it's screwed up. It is. It is screwed up. She should not have said that, you know? And, you know, the fact that mom already didn't like her, and, you know, how she'll, I mean, there's already an OCR complaint, which maybe I should throw that at them too, because she'll just not show up and he hasn't had academic instruction, which is an OCR complaint. And then she doesn't even tell mom. So mom's supposed to be online at, let's just say 9 o'clock. I don't know what time it is. And teacher never shows up. For background, my daughter is an adult living with autism. Okay, that's awesome. How's that going? Yeah, Tamara. You'll have to message me. All right, guys, that's it for today. Have a wonderful evening. I'm sure we will be talking again. Just kidding. I will see you guys tomorrow. And make sure that you post below your thoughts, your comments on this reading series. I want to know. Give me feedback, okay? Not just positive feedback. I want constructive criticism. So both positive or constructive criticism. If you want to be negative, get the hell off my page and group. Okay? Because I would never be negative to you, and I believe in treating others as you want to be treated. Okay? Because my thing is if you don't like me and you don't like my group and you don't like what I have to say and you don't like the facts that I say, then go. But if it's something that is you and digging and things that you're going through and you realize that it's fact and not bullshit, and that it is what it is and it's unfortunate, but it is what it is, then post, you know, below, you know, your thoughts. I want to hear what you have to say. You know, what are your thoughts on this? What are your thoughts on the reading, you know, information that you're getting the last several days? And then if there's constructive criticism, I want it. I want to do anything I possibly can to get better and know more information. I am a sponge. I love learning new information. So please bring it, guys. All right. So have a wonderful, wonderful evening, and I will talk to you soon. Make sure, guys, on the page that you share this, and everybody on the group, you can share this as well. And I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.